And it's time for another preview. Scott Cole, Nick Mizesko back with you. This time it is the Pittsburgh Steelers as we continue to work our way through the AFC North. Feel like the Bengals are going to be pretty good. Maybe the Browns, depending on what happens to Sean Watson, can make a run. But then we start to get to the bottom of the barrel here. We're talking about the rebuilding Steelers. And then, of course, next week we'll be breaking it down. Those Ravens, who have no offense but have a pretty mobile quarterback. That about sums it up with a little defense. Let's get to it. It's the Pittsburgh Steelers 2022 preview. All right. Steelers 9-7-1. The tie last season.
Ew.
Mike
Nobody's excited about that one.
Yeah. Mike Tomlin back at the helm. But for the first time in a long time, Super Bowl winning quarterback Big Ben not there in Pittsburgh, Nick. But they drafted Kenny Pickett.
They did. And every Pittsburgh Steelers fan is very excited about it from what I've heard. Last year was a weird year for Pittsburgh. Coming into the season, there was a lot of talk about do they upgrade that offensive line, and then in the 2021 draft, with their first pick in the first round in a deep offensive line draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select tight end Pat Freiermuth. I mean, that's cool, and Pat's cool and all, but they continue to struggle to protect Ben Roethlisberger, and he was as mobile as literally two turnstiles. But they found a way to go 9-7. They had some big wins. They had a stretch where they started out 1-4. They had a weird tie against the Lions. In a game that Myles Garrett's favorite player, Mason Rudolph, started. But they finished strong. They beat Cleveland and Baltimore to end the season. They actually swept the Ravens. They didn't beat anybody great. They beat, the Seattle win. Everybody was like, this is going to be a big win. And then Seattle ended up being kind of garbage. So,
yep.
But, you play to win the game in the words of Herm Edwards. And they went.
They made it to the playoffs.
Right.
It was a playoff run. The crazy thing is they ran into the Kansas City Chiefs. So,
and they actually are good, in case you were wondering.
Yeah, they are pretty good. Let's move on to this season. Let's put that season to bed. Like I said, Mike Tomlin's back. They don't hire many coaches there in Pittsburgh. So when you're the coach, you're the coach for a long time. They haven't had very many. Of course, we'll get to the win-loss game, but let's start off with how did you think their 2022 draft went there in Pittsburgh? Kenny Pickett. Let's start off with that one because that's a big one, right? Yeah. We go all the way back to 1983. They did not take Dan Marino, right, who played at Pitt, right. A local kid. I don't know if this is like a 30-year later knee-jerk pick, but they believe in small hands Pickett.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird because, again, we live in an instant reaction world. The second it happens, everyone goes, this guy's going to be great. This guy's going to be a bust. I mean, let's not forget in the Baker Mayfield draft, everybody said Josh Allen was going to be a bust. Everybody said he's a wild arm that can't control it. Turns out he's been pretty good. I mean, we truly don't know. But
it is a huge roll of the dice.
It is a huge roll of the dice in a draft that was very weak quarterback-wise. There was a lot of media trying to build up these quarterbacks because quarterbacks sell tickets to the draft. Quarterbacks sell viewers to tune in. At the end of the day, your best quarterback might have been Malik Willis out of Liberty. I mean, there just wasn't a lot of talent in this draft at the quarterback position. Kenny Pickett was on most boards, generously a late second-round grade. Most had him third or fourth round. They took him with the first-round pick. It's a reach. Here's the answer. If he turns out to be great, I guess we don't care as much. If this is their quarterback of the future, I mean, we watched Ben Roethlisberger fall down draft boards. Remember him falling in the Eli Manning, Phillip Rivers draft. He fell all the way to Pittsburgh at 22, and everybody went, I don't know about this guy, and he turned out to be a Hall of Famer. So I'm not a big Kenny Pickett fan. I watched him at Pitt. I think he is a okay quarterback who struggled against good competition and threw way too many picks for somebody that I want to be my quarterback. The rest of their draft, again, was okay. It was screamed C-. Like, they bring in George Pickens, a nice wide receiver. They bring in Calvin Austin as well because they really had to rebuild their wide receiver room. Juju Smith-Schuster leaves in the offseason. They really wanted to get some more young talent in there. But, Scott, I walked away. I looked at their draft, and I went, you guys definitely got more players, huh?
Huge rolls of the dice with Pickett and Pickens. I think we have no idea what George Pickens is all about, the man from Georgia who didn't get to play the whole season. He's got a lot of intangibles. I mean, he could be Calvin Johnson. He could be out of the league in 3 years. Like, you don't know what you get from that. So, yeah, I mean, we went through it on our draft special. You can go back and listen to it or watch it out on the YouTubes or wherever you watch this or listen to this. I just thought the draft was okay.
It's got to be honest. I think the Kenny Pickett draft, the pick itself was already questionable. Mm-hmm. And then I sit there and go, you did go out and sign Mitch Trubisky as well, which everybody went, this is going to be your guy. Like Mitch Trubisky, a quarterback who, again, another one that was reached for in a draft by the Chicago Bears, but I don't think was that bad. Certainly was handcuffed by Matt Nagy, the world's greatest offensive coach of all time. Back up in Buffalo, getting another chance in Pittsburgh, and you sit there and you go, okay, this is interesting. Give Mitch Trubisky a change of scenery, give him a chance under Mike Tomlin, who is, for all intents and purposes, a good coach. Like, let's see what he can do. And then you also go take Kenny Pickett. Like, it's just, for a team that had a lot of needs, O-line was a big need. Wide receiver was a need. They still need to shore up the back end of their defense. Going quarterback just seemed like a weird move in this draft, especially knowing that next year's draft is going to be so much deeper quarterback-wise.
Yeah, it's like a feel-good kind of pick. Let's jump into the preview of their team. What do you think about the offense? We've already pretty much broken down the quarterback position.
Yeah.
What do you see in the rest of that offense? Because Juju's out of there. I think they have one of the best running backs in the league, like top 5 running back in the league when you talk about Najee Harris. He is scary. If he can continue or even just stay consistent with what he did in his rookie year, good grief, get out of the way.
Yeah, listen, their offense is very up and down for me. Don't love the quarterback position, love the running back position. Najee Harris, again, everybody likes to talk about don't draft running backs high. Najee Harris is in one of those guys that just proves the otherwise. He's so good. Wide receiving room, I like Deontay Johnson. I think he's a nice piece. I hate Chase Claypool. As a human being, as a player, he's fine, but he could do more TikTok dances on the sidelines and brag about his wins when the Browns beat.
Maybe since Juju's gone, maybe some of that will just grow up.
It'll be interesting what George Pickens brings if he can be that number 3. But Johnson and Claypool, I like. It's a nice 1-2. It doesn't excite me, but it's better than a lot of these teams. You go to the O-line, that's where I have questions. Their left tackle now is Dan Moore, who not great. Okorafor is their right tackle, who's much improved last year. He took some steps forward. They brought in Mason Cole they brought in the offseason. But this O-line was one of the worst, and they didn't improve it a whole lot. They didn't go out and draft a top offensive lineman. They didn't go sign a top offensive lineman. They actually ended up losing an offensive lineman in Trey Turner in the offseason. I just don't love that wide receiving room, and I feel bad for Najee Harris because I have a feeling for a guy who is so good, he's not going to have a lot of open lanes to run through.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's their entire offense. Is why we were pretty much picking them to be 3rd in the AFC North, with the Ravens coming up next week, which tells you we picked them to be in the basement. Let's get over to the defensive side of the ball. They do have TJ Watt, who's an absolute beast. He's the anchor of the defense.
Yeah, anchor of the defense. This is a defense that was top 5 last year, pass rush wise. One of the worst run defenses in the league. Actually, the worst. They were last place. They were 29th in yards per carry on the offensive side, and they were dead last in run defense. This is a bad run-stopping team. And by the way, they're in a league. They're in a division with Joe Mixon, Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, and Lamar Jackson. I mean, it's a bad time to be a bad run defense. D-line, I love that D-line. I love TJ Watt. He is an absolute monster. I love watching the TJ Watt-Myles Garrett debates because I think they're so different, but also so similar. And, obviously at the end, they have a Buckeye, Cam Hayward. I mean, just the leader of their defense. And then you add in Chris Wormley as well. Like, that's a nice D-line. And then they go out in the offseason. They bring in Miles Jack, former Jacksonville Jaguar, really nice piece at linebacker. Now their linebacking core, Devin Bush, Miles Jack, and Alex Highsmith.
They got
interesting
some speed.
Linebackers. And then you get to the corners, and I hate their corners. It's Akella Witherspoon, it's Levi Wallace. They're bad. They're just not good corners. It's a lot of number threes out there.
So they can't stop the run, and they also cannot play any man-to-man defense to be able to blitz.
Their man-to-man
They're going to have troubles.
Hoping TJ gets home. That's it. It is press them enough and hope TJ Watt gets home. They do have a great back end. Minkah Fitzpatrick, I think, is stellar, and Terrell Edmonds, I think, is criminally underrated and can support in run and pass defense. But yeah, their pass defense is predicated on, can we get TJ Watt or Cam Hayward home? If not, we're getting beat because, I mean, their corners right now, Akella Witherspoon, Levi Wallace, Justin Lane, Cameron Sutton.
And by the way, on the special teams, Chris Boswell's he's played 7 seasons.
Yeah.
This guy feels like he's been in the league for 20 years.
You said 7, and I thought you misread somewhere. Doesn't he feel like Nick Folk or something? Like he's 39 years old, still kicking.
He was born when I was in 8th grade, but he feels like he's older than me.
Yeah, it's weird.
All right, let's get to the win-loss game. It's gonna be interesting this season for this squad. They start out a couple preseason games. Who cares?
They start out with a loss, Scott, is what they start out with.
All right.
They go to Cincinnati.
Yep.
Goodbye. Have a great day. I mean, Cincinnati should win that game by 1,000. They're going to have a lot of energy in Cincy already with them getting to raise AFC Championship banners. They're not losing to the Steelers week 1. The Bengals should win that game 41-10. The
crazy thing on the Steelers Insider website, I'm not going to say who wrote this article, but they're like, hey, people that have been to the Super Bowl are 11-48 in their season opener, or some wild stat.
Yeah, okay.
But this is it's, first of all, it's at home. It's in Cincinnati. They're going to be excited about the season. They're excited about the run they had last year. Unless they get distracted, this is a 2-touchdown win for Cincy.
Yep.
So 1 loss. Then on September 18th, they welcome in the New England Patriots at home. What do you got?
Yeah, I think this is actually going to be a better game than people think it is. Mm-hmm. Again, I'm very interested to see who's starting at this point. I think the inkling I've gotten is this is the Mitch Trubisky show for they want Kenny Pickett to sit. They do not want him to have to be jumped into the with a poor offensive line.
You don't bring him in these first 3 games. Yeah. I can tell you that.
So with Mitch Trubisky out there, listen, I've said over and over, I think the Patriots are pretty overrated. I think Mac Jones is a check down artist that looks cool in Bill Belichick's offense, but they're not a great team. And still don't have wide receivers. Don't understand how that's possible.
This could be a 3-0, 6-3 kind of game.
Yeah, and this game at home opener in Pittsburgh, I'm going to take the Steelers in this one, actually. I think the Steelers defense can do enough. They're just, I look at the offense from the Patriots. It is Mac Jones throwing to a giant shrug emoji because we have no idea who's playing wide receiver out there anymore. I guess running the ball with Ramondre
Wes Welker
Stevenson.
Still an option? I'm not sure. I haven't checked.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing. So even though it's Bill, I think at home opener, Tomlin can get it done. But yeah, Scott, 7-6.
It's a toss-up game.
Yeah,
I'll give you this one. All right. So they're 1-1 on the season, going to Cleveland, sans Deshaun Watson.
The Browns are going to be sans Deshaun Watson for the next 2 years. I don't think they're honestly, Scott. I've moved to I don't think he plays. He's
still saying doesn't matter how many you bring to me. That didn't happen.
Not to derail it, but I will say, 66 massage therapists. Well, if you're looking for a barber, you go through a lot of different barbers. You don't go through 66. You find one eventually.
I will say something. We're talking about derailing here.
Yeah.
If I'm a celebrity, I'm ZZ, whatever the bottom is. And even my Instagram is full of these thirst traps. Yeah. So I can't imagine being a pro athlete. With all that said, it does not look good.
No.
For DW4 and Cleveland.
So, again, it's going to be the Jacoby Brissett-led Cleveland Browns. Maybe Baker Mayfield. I don't know. They've said talks have heated up with the Panthers, which is interesting.
Speaking of Jacoby Brissett, I had a brisket hot dog the other day. It was good. I'll be honest. It was
I'm going to need you to just send me a little DM with that information.
So, Cleveland win or loss here?
Yeah, I got Cleveland winning this one.
Yeah.
It's a Thursday night game in Cleveland. Even with Brissett, this is a team, again, Pittsburgh Steelers have one of the worst run defenses in the league, and they didn't go out and improve it. The Browns are going to run this ball 30 times. They're going to give the ball to Nick Chubb, and they're
It's
going to give
three
the ball
physical
to
games, and then you get the short week.
Yeah, short week off of New England. It's just tough. I got the Browns winning that one. It's going to be a close game. I think within 7, but yeah, I think the Browns win that one at home.
So they start the season 1-2. That brings up a little off time, little 10-day. They'll face the New York Jets at home.
Yeah, and they'll beat the Jets. I like this Jets team. Again, I think they're going to be much improved, especially with some of the moves they made. But week 4 at home, I just don't see the Jets going on the road and beating the Steelers. The welcome to the NFL. Ike Ekonwu, enjoy TJ Watt in the backfield. I think Zach Wilson's going to start seeing ghosts like Sam Darnold was. And giving the Steelers, I think, pretty big in that one.
So they start the season 2-2.
Yeah,
I'm thinking more like 1-3. But yeah, I mean, it just tells you how those first couple games could go.
Yeah,
they got a tough one though. This schedule's not easy.
No,
October 9th,
you get for making the playoffs. Congratulations.
They go to Buffalo in October, which is the good news. The bad news is Buffalo is
it's still Buffalo, right?
much better team. Maybe one of the best teams in the AFC.
Yeah. All Buffalo all the time. Go Bills, go Bills Mafia. What up, Trumpet Monkey? Good to see you. Yeah, Bills win this one big. It's at home. Going into new era, it's brutal. Yeah, Bills win by a lot. Did I lose all my audio? Hello?
No, this is sorry about that. It's a 17 point victory. Somewhere around there.
Oh yeah.
2 to 3 touchdowns.
Josh Allen doesn't play the fourth quarter in that game, does he? Like he's resting in the fourth.
Well, they always do play, right? They never set him out. I don't know if that's for fantasy reasons or contract reasons. You got to be up by 40 in the NFL to pull your starters. October 16th, the following week. So we have them now sitting at 2-3.
Yep.
They'll face the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Fighting Tom Brady's.
And again,
at home.
Yeah, this Tampa team, I got to look at the roster. I'm interested in what this roster looks like, but they still got Tom Brady, right?
Yep.
Tom Brady they still got Chris Godwin out there, right?
I mean, he makes no-name guys seem like Hall of Famers. So.
And he's got Godwin, he's got Mike Evans. Yeah, Tampa, big. Steelers fans enjoy getting the tickets to see Tom Brady for what could be the final time, or he'll play for another 10 years. Who knows? But you're going to watch him beat your team by a lot.
So they're sitting at 2-4, and they take a trip down to Miami, Hard Rock Stadium, October 23rd. I don't know what to make of the Dolphins, but you're going to get to see a lot of checkdowns on that team too. A little guy by the name of Tyreek Hill. They got some nice pieces there in Miami. But I still think even though this is the Sunday night game, by the way, Steelers and Dolphins, I think this is a toss-up.
It is very much a toss-up. I'm taking the Dolphins in this one. At home on Sunday Night Football. Obviously, that place is going to be rocking, Hard Rock Stadium. I think this Miami team is going to be much improved with the addition of Tyreek Hill. They got Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle out there with Devontae Parker as your third. Like, that is a very good wide receiving core. And for all we say about Tua Tagovailoa and his check down and how he doesn't throw the ball very deep, let's point out, if there's a team you want to check down against, it's the Steelers, who are bringing a pass rush every time. Yep. So if they can use that 5-yard, obviously, Ahkello Witherspoon's not staying with Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill's going to take a drag route 75 yards in this game. I like the Dolphins in this one. I think it's a touchdown win for the Dolphins. I think it's a tough road game. I just don't.
It's a Sunday night game that I'm not watching.
No, I'm not.
I have no interest in Steelers and Dolphins.
No, but again, and we're at Scott. Who's going to be starting? Like, is it still Mitch Trubisky at this point? Is it Kenny Pickett? Like, I don't know, and I don't think it really matters.
Hey, they got Kenny Pickett with the third string right now.
Yeah,
before the bye week, still on the road, they face the tough Eagles team at a 1:00 kick.
Yeah, give me Philly. Listen, I know this Philly team is kind of much maligned. This is very much a toss-up game in Pennsylvania. This is going to be a rocking stadium, and the fact that it is at Philly, at Lincoln Financial, is why I have the Philadelphia Eagles winning that game. I think Jalen Hurts is prime for a big year. I really do. I think he can make a couple steps forward and be really, really good. He's got some weapons on the outside. I think Miles Sanders, the former Penn State product, is going to be motivated against the Steelers. I like the Eagles to win this game at home, and the Steelers will get a much-needed bye week after this. But again, Miami, Philly, you could sit there and go both wins for Steelers, both losses, or a split. I think those are both massive toss-up
John
games.
Johnson's upset out there on Facebook. So much disrespect. I mean, yeah, going in the bye week, my guy Nick Mizesko has him 2-6. 2-6. I don't think you're that far off. I mean, I think 4-4 is the best case scenario going in the bye week. It's just
if they're 4-4 going in the bye, there's a parade somewhere in Pittsburgh. Like
so this is the reason for the disrespect. You lose your Hall of Fame quarterback. You lose a pretty decent wide receiver. There's not going to be no Hall of Famer number one. I don't even think Juju was ever a wide receiver one.
No, he's a good two.
Good
Not a
dude.
great
We
two.
did shows
He's a
together. Like Juju's a fine guy.
Yeah.
But you can't stop the run, and we don't like the secondary. Unless you get pressure on the quarterback, it's going to be bad. I mean, they could be 1-7. They could be 0-8.
It is not to be overlooked that their O-line is not better. Their O-line might be worse after last year.
But we both like Najee Harris, and we believe for what he's doing with that offensive line, too. So much respect for Najee, man. What a beast.
And let's not forget Miami and Philly, 2 toss-up games. What do both those teams have? A good secondary. Darius Slay with Philly, and Miami has Byron Jones out there who played as a top 2 and might not have been 2 corner last year. I mean, so they're going to be relying on Chase Claypool to carry this team because Deontay Johnson's going to be locked down those 2 games.
Good to see, great one. John Johnson. Yeah, sorry for the disrespect.
Sorry,
I think they do okay during the bye week. They could
Don't
lose.
Probably.
I don't know. It could be tough.
Yeah.
Sunday, November 13th, they are back at it. They face the Saints that we are still have no idea what this team's going to be like. So I'll just put it out there. It's a home game, and I think it's going to be a very good game against New Orleans.
I do too. Again, I'm so excited to get out of the AFC North because I just don't want to look at the Saints team anymore. I'm so tired of trying to pick who wins this game. I got the Steelers winning this game at home, though. Coming off a bye week in what has been a bad start to the season, this is going to be a motivated team. Their defense is going to keep them in this one. Who knows what New Orleans brings? If Jameis goes out and throws for 520 and 5 touchdowns, yeah, they're hosed. If Jameis Winston does what Jameis Winston does, which is throw bad picks under pressure, the Steelers should win this game. It is a toss-up, 100%, but I think the home game helps them.
Then they face the Bengals. November 20th.
Sunday night game?
Sunday night game. This could get embarrassing for the Steelers. John Johnson, by the way, came back on Facebook. He says, we just don't lose to the Eagles, right?
Okay, well,
so
I say it's a toss-up. I do. Bengals win this game. I think this game is closer than certainly the first one. I think this one at home. Cincy, listen, if there's a game that the Steelers are going to pick up a nice win, this is it. Because the Bengals have a tendency to drop some bad games. They are a team that struggles to protect the quarterback, so TJ Watt and Cam Hayward's going to get after Joe Burrow. They've got athletic linebackers that can play in the middle of the field. This is a winnable game. I just think that they're going to have trouble stopping the passing attack from the Bengals. T. Higgins and Jamar Chase should run all over them, and then Joe Mixon on the ground. I like the Bengals in this one, but if there's a game of like a upsetty game where they go and get a big win, it's this one. I put this one in the toss-up category.
It's going to be interesting, with these quarterbacks and Najee Harris, if they can keep him healthy back there. Will they try to play a possession game? Will they try these 8 to 12 play kind of drives, chewing up 4 to 5, minutes to try to shorten some of these games, knowing you got some defensive deficiencies. Not to say that they haven't done a decent job in the offseason of kind of working in some of the gaps that they have. We just feel like they have a lot of gaps. And if you got an offense that can't go out there and score points, you're going to be frustrated. It's going to be a frustrating season for the Bengals. So now 10 games in, what do you got them? Are we 2-8ing them? Or are we 3-7 them at this point?
They're 3-7.
Okay.
Again, I think at this point, if you're at 5 wins, you're really happy. I do think that this is a rebuild year. I mean, call it what it is. This is a rebuild year.
I know that's tough for Steelers because you had so much history. You've had a lot of success. Trust, I speak as someone that was a long fan of a team that's never had a good quarterback. Maybe Walter Payton's the best quarterback the Bears ever had. And he plays running back, by the way, for those that are under 20 years old and don't have the internet.
Yeah. Who?
So 3-7 Monday night game against the place I've spent a lot of time over the last couple of weeks. That's Lucas Oil Stadium. This Colts defense is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Carson Wentz has already missed like 6, 7, 9 games by this point. Nope. They got Matt Ryan. So that's what the Colts are doing here, right? They're trying to get a better quarterback that maybe gives them some sort of consistency. I love the Colts on this Monday night game.
Yeah, I love the Colts in this one, and there's two words that is going to be etched into the brains of Steelers fans, and that is Jonathan Taylor. This dude is a beast. He is going to run the ball down the throats of this bad run defense. I love the Colts in this game. I think it's going to be closer. Like this isn't a 20-point win. This is probably a 2-score win though. For the Colts.
Yeah, it's going to be a closer game,
night.
right? You got. This is kind of two 1980-ish feeling football teams, right? You're going to see a lot of running in this game.
A lot of running, but I love the Colts defense to stop Najee Harris, and I think there's no shot that the Steelers defense gets stops.
And I don't think you
love
can,
the Colts passing attack, but I love JT.
I don't think you can overlook that they're coming off a game against the Bengals.
Yeah,
the week before, not the '80s girl band, but the Cincinnati.
Okay, Steelers
Bengals.
fans, I just like to point out, stick around, okay? Because I think you're about to get some wins.
Yeah, Josh Johnson saying out there, we haven't had a losing season even with bad players at the quarterback. It's just a tough schedule, right? You make the play. It's always tough when you make the playoffs or the Super Bowl and then you lose your Hall of Fame quarterback and your backup quarterback's not Aaron Rodgers, right? Like the Packers are the only team I can see that like make a run and then have another Hall of Fame quarterback just waiting there behind him. So the tough thing is the strength of schedule. It's maybe less about the Steelers team. Just don't love the schedule that they're going to have to face.
And again, let's look back to 2019. Ben Roethlisberger gets hurt. They're playing Mason Rudolph and Duck Hodgson was the year. Yes, did they have not a losing season? That is 100% true. They went 8-8 that year. Context is important, though. This was 2019. The Cleveland Browns were dog water. They were awful. That was the Freddie Kitchens year. The Cincinnati Bengals were bad. This was a bad Bengals team that was not playing very well. And they also played teams like the Los Angeles Chargers, pre-Justin Herbert. That team was bad post the end of the Phillip Rivers era. They also played the Arizona Cardinals in Kyler Murray's rookie year. They also played the New York Jets. They also played the Los Angeles Rams in the Jared Goff era. Like, they had a very easy schedule that year.
Yep.
It is important to have that in context. This year, unfortunately for the Steelers, how the schedule works out, you play Tom Brady, you play Josh Allen, you play an improved Miami team with Tyreek Hill, you play the Bengals twice a year, the defending AFC champions twice, you play the Colts with a better quarterback. Like, it's a tough schedule. This is not necessarily an indication of how bad the Steelers are, even though I don't think they're very good. This is a brutal schedule and some bad Monday night and Sunday night games on the road. They don't get a favorable home schedule.
And they're saying Big Ben hadn't played well in the last couple of years. He threw 22 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. Like, you know how many teams out there would kill for 22 touchdowns and 10 interceptions? A lot. Now, the good news is the schedule does get easier. December 4th at Atlanta.
Yeah.
Very winnable game. I actually have the Steelers in this one by 10.
Yeah, Steelers win this one big. Atlanta's terrible. Marcus Mariota is their quarterback. I think at this point, Desmond Ritter is probably playing. They don't have any wide receivers. TJ Watt's going to take out some anger on whoever's back there. Sorry.
All right, so they head to Baltimore. I got them winning this one, too.
I do, too.
I got teams sweeping Baltimore this season. I am not a Ravens fan. I think they're almost an easy win this season. I think there's going to be some gritty games when you face Baltimore. I mean, you're not going to beat them by 40. You're not going to beat them by 28. You're probably not going to beat them by 17. But what you can do is you're going to beat them by 10. Beat them by 7. They're not going to score a lot of points. You're not going to score a lot of points. But I do think the Steelers are much better than the Baltimore Ravens.
I think, this is a home game against the Ravens. Obviously, the poor run defense for Pittsburgh is tough against a guy like Lamar Jackson, team that's going to run the ball a lot. But I just think this Ravens team is bad, and they'll beat them at home.
All right, so back-to-back wins. I'd make it a third. Going down to Charlotte, Bank of America, Sunday on the 18th. It's another 1 o'clock kickoff. 3 straight 1 o'clock kickoffs, so that thing is good for Pittsburgh. They win 3 in a row. They beat the Panthers by 14-21, something like that. I'm assuming Carolina has not fixed their quarterback situation. And I also assume that McCaffrey's hurt by this point.
Yeah, well, McCaffrey's certainly hurt at this point. But, I mean, let's be clear, it could be Baker Mayfield down there for the Carolina Panthers. And then TJ Watt's going to have added motivation to go after him. So, yeah, big win on the road. Sorry, Panthers fans. Your team is not good. Good luck. I hope you rebuild a good job showing up some offensive line, but yeah, give me.
It's been a long time since Super Bowl 50 for those Panthers fans. And somebody chimed in. Relentless was asking, did you miss the NFC East? No, we're only 3 teams in. This is our 3rd team, so we're just getting started here on the preview. Of course, we'll circle back because a lot of things will happen in minicamp and pickups and things like that as we move forward. But we're covering the NFL really every week. So. We'll be back next week with the Baltimore Ravens. So 3 wins in a row. Then an interesting game. This is Saturday. It's Christmas Eve. The Vegas Raiders come to town. Hopefully my future employer. I'll tell you that when we get off air. Night game. Christmas Eve at home. If it was in Vegas, I'd pick the Raiders. All of a sudden, this is a bit of a toss-up game for me there on Saturday.
Yeah, very toss-up game. I tend to be higher on the Raiders than other people. I think Derek Carr's a good quarterback. I do. Not great, but he's a good quarterback. And they add Devontae Adams, and they just inked Hunter Renfrow to a big deal. Like, that's a nice 1-2 punch. Josh Jacobs is the perennial, is he healthy, is he not?
If he is, they probably do win. But you're assuming there's going to be some banged-up things. I mean, you take Najee Harris out of the mix, right? And the Steelers are very bad.
Yeah, and again, the Raiders improved their defense a ton. Max Crosby, I think, is one of the best young DNs in the league, but they bring in Chandler Jones from Arizona. This is an interesting game. I am going to say Christmas Eve, the Pittsburgh Steelers win this game at home. It is tough going west to east, and let's call a spade a spade. This is a bad offensive line for the Raiders. Alex Leatherwood was a horrible and another great draft pick by Mike Mayock in the John Gruden era. And the Raiders, just for those paying attention, the 5 games prior to the Pittsburgh game, the Raiders' schedule is at Denver, at Seattle, home against the Chargers, at the Rams, home against the Patriots. That is a brutal stretch. I think this Steelers game comes at a bad time. I think at home, the Steelers pull out a big win.
Yeah, you never want to be away from home during the holidays. It's just bad. It's just you look at over time, usually in these holiday battles, I don't care what sport it is, home team wins. So
yeah,
that's 4 in a row.
Yeah.
4 in a row. I think they make it 5 in a row at Baltimore.
Yeah.
Because you just got all this momentum now. Yeah. New Year's Day, by the way, on the road.
I hate NFL football on New Year's Day. It bothers me.
It's college day.
Yeah, give me the Steelers to go into M&T Bank Stadium and get a win. Listen, the Ravens' schedule win-loss game might be bad for Ravens fans. You probably don't want to tune into that one. It's going to be ugly.
It's going to be ugly next week.
I think the Steelers with a lot of confidence, too. This is almost an inverse of their 2020 season. Remember 2020, they started out 11-0 or 12-0, and then they lost 5 of their last 6. Kind of an inverse here. I think the schedule lightens up a little bit. I think going to Baltimore is big for them. I think they go and get a win.
This is where the final game, this is where the win streak stops. I think the Cleveland Browns have Deshaun by this point. I think the Cleveland Browns are playing for a playoff spot, maybe even playing to win the division. I think they lose to the Browns, even though it is at home on that final day. A little bit of a toss-up, but I would still have the Browns by somewhere 3 to 7 points there in that final game.
Yeah, this game is 100% dependent on where the division is. If the Browns have something locked up, you might not see a single starter play. Again, I like the Browns against the Steelers because this run defense is bad, and I think Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt can eat. I like the Browns at home. This is a toss-up for me, though. It's rivalry games are always toss-ups. You add in it's the end of the season. I think they lose this game, which Scott, for John Johnson, who came in and was all, they still haven't had a losing season. Yes, I have the Steelers having a losing season. It's at 8-9, though. This is an 8-9 team, and they could very easily be 9-8. But I have
there's a few games that they need to win to get above 500, right?
Yeah.
They need to beat the Patriots in week 2.
Yep.
Right. That needs to happen. You got to take care of the Jets. If you can get a win in that little 3-game, there's a 3 games right before the bye week. There's a 3-game spent that I think is really important for if they want to get over 500. That's Tampa Bay, Miami, Philly.
Yeah.
If they can win 2 of 3, then that's where you'll be. You could possibly be right where you were last year, which is a 9-7 team.
Yeah,
9-8.
The stretch for me is Miami, Philly, New Orleans. That is a stretch they could go 3-0, 0-3, or a mix. I mean, they can win all those games. It hurts that the Miami Philly games are on the road for sure, but Philly's not really even a road game. It's a couple hours. That's your stretch. That's right there. I don't think there's a world where they beat Tampa, Tom. I don't. They could. I don't see it. But that Miami, Philly, New Orleans block will determine whether or not we're talking of a 500 to possible
like a wild card team or just completely out,
or whether or not they're looking at a draft pick. And that's right there. That's your block.
What do you got for the floor? What do you got for the ceiling for this upcoming Steelers season as far as wins, losses?
I think their ceiling for the Steelers, 11 wins. Like, I don't love their quarterback room, but their schedule evens out at the end of the year, and they've got a lot of Miami, Philly, New Orleans, New England, all very toss-up like games. I think Cincinnati's toss-up. You could see an 11-win Steelers team for sure, especially with Mike Tomlin, who I respect the hell out of as a coach. He's great at stopping punt returns, but I think depending on, and my opinion is I think Mitch Trubisky is the better choice at quarterback. I think 11 wins is probably their ceiling. I think their floor, though, this might be one of the biggest spreads. I think their floor is probably 5 wins. This could be a 5-win Steelers team depending on who plays quarterback. Because there's a good shot.
They could be 1-7 at the bye week.
Let's be clear. We had them sweeping the Ravens. They could certainly drop the game at M&T Bank Stadium. Lamar Jackson is superhuman at times. He can. And again, that Ravens defense is not horrible. They could pull out a win there. You've got a lot of toss-up games here. This is a team that could be as low as 5 wins.
But that's what you get with a 50-50 team, right? They're a 500 team, right? So you're going to get a lot of toss-up games. I think the running game and the pass rush is going to be the thing that kind of keeps them in it. If they can come up with some schemes, if you see a lot of 100 games from Najee Harris, they win the possession. And most importantly with Mitch Trubisky, if you can win the turnover battles, and I know I'm speaking like football 101 here, but it's a problem. You're going to have to take care of the onion, or as you know, Nick, it'll make you cry.
Yeah, and again, this as with all of these are all caveated on health of the team. I mean, if somebody goes out, they have a major injury in week 1, we're talking lower floors. But assuming sort of standard NFL health, guys get dinged up here and there, I think their defense is good enough to get them to near 500 and possibly above 500. And Scott, if you told me at the end of the year the Pittsburgh Steelers made the playoffs, I wouldn't be shocked. It would surprise me. It's definitely, a underdog bet right now. But I think Mike Tomlin and that defense give them enough that you could see a 10-11 win Pittsburgh Steelers team if they can win some of these toss-up games and the defense can keep them.
All right. That's how we see the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't think they're a playoff team. I think realistically, if I'm going to put a stamp on it, I think they're 7-9, somewhere around there. I just think there's too many deficiencies in the AFC North that's gotten much better.
It's an 18-week season. That's 7-10, sir.
Oh, 7-10.
Double-digit losses.
I'm still living in 1992.
You're still living 2 years ago. How dare you?
But there could be a tie.
Hey,
7-9-1.
How do you? That's true. They're great at getting ties. How do you feel about their preseason schedule? Seattle, Jacksonville, Detroit, 3-0 maybe.
Oh yeah, they're undefeated. They're undefeated going into that first game, right? And they're killing teams. They're blowing those teams out, and then all of a sudden they're ready to crown the Steelers. But hey, that's good confidence, right? For a quarterback room that needs some confidence, they're going to have some ability in those preseason games to get some confidence. I love the preseason schedule. Yeah. It's just going to come down to, can they catch lightning in bottle from Trubisky or Pickett, or who knows, man? Tomlin could very easily go with Mason Rudolph and you win 5 games. Like that could seriously happen. But good luck to the Steelers. They've always been a great organization. They've been nice to me every time I visit. They've been so hospitable to me.
Damn, I did work for the Pittsburgh Knights. I can't hate that. I'm like shaking my head like I've never had any good. Dang, I did. Shoot.
Yeah, I know. Me and Juju did a little Doritos thing at the stadium. It was pretty fun. nevertheless, good luck to you Steeler fans out there. We'll be back next week. It'll be the Baltimore Ravens. And let's see if we can get them 4 wins. We're going to try. We're going to try our best to try to get them 4 or 5 wins. We'll see you guys next time right here on the show.